Alhamdulillah, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says indeed, the salah performed in the masjid in Jama'ah is 25 to 27 times more rewarding in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah to grant us the tawfiq and the understanding and the istiqamah and sincerity. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. Inshallah, continuing with our tafsir on Surah Al-Layl. As we have mentioned 2 weeks ago, we have discussed where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that Allah started the surah again by the day and the night, and how Allah has created things in pairs, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again mentioned that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created وَإِنَّ سَعْيَكُمْ لَشَتَّى, like how Allah has created the moon and the sun, the day and the night, things in pair. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created insan also like that. Allah has created some who incline towards good and some who inclines towards evil. Like Allah mentioned in the previous surah, Surah Al-Shams, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. Allah has given insan, Allah has given me and you the ability to differentiate between haqq and batil, to see what is correct and what is incorrect, what is halal and what is haram. Allah has given us the intellect and Allah has given us the knowledge and the means for us to distinguish between these two things. So Allah, this Surah Al-Layl, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again, Allah mentions, إِنَّ سَعْيَكُمْ لَشَتَّى, that insan in the actions, in the striving in this dunya, they are diverse. There are some who inclines towards goodness and there are some who inclines towards evil. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions some of the good qualities, three of the good qualities of the people whose hearts incline towards goodness and righteousness. And the first quality is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى وَاتَّقَى. The first quality is for the one who gives in the path of Allah, the one who spends in the path of Allah. And we mentioned, some Mufassirun mentioned, Allah doesn't specify in this ayah the one who spends of his wealth. It can be his wealth, it can be his time, it can be a smile that he gives to the next person, it can be a piece of advice he gives to the next person, it can be some sort of any type of assistance, it can be removing some harm out of the road. So whoever gives and spends in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the first quality, wattaqa, and secondly, they have fear and consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the foundation of a believer. The foundation of a person's iman is built on the consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the more the taqwa, the greater, and the more the iman in the heart of that person, the more beloved Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will become to that person. And that's why Allah says, إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ, that indeed the most honored in the eyes of Allah, those who fear Allah the most, those are the most conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't live a life unmindful of Allah. So the first quality, وَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى وَاتَّقَى, those who give and spend in the path of Allah, وَاتَّقَى, and those who fear and conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَصَدَّقَ Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى, those who affirm this compensation which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them. They believe in the reward that will come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are striving in this dunya, hoping that one day Allah, on the day of Qiyamah, Allah will grant us the ultimate reward, and that is Jannah. So we have a level of certainty and yaqeen in the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the reward of Allah. It is one thing for someone to do something, but he doesn't believe in the reward of Allah. Allah has created insan that if there's a reward attached to any deed, then we incline towards fulfilling it. We strive towards it. Why? Because we know the reward of it. So when we strive for righteousness and we spend in the path of Allah, we do all of these things. Why? Because we have yaqeen that one day Allah will reward us greatly. And our reward will be by Allah on the day of Qiyamah. And the ultimate reward Allah can give a person is Jannah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْيُسْرَى, and indeed Allah will make smooth his path towards righteousness. Allah will make easy his path towards righteousness. And then this evening Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again reminds us of the opposite side of the scale. The first part Allah mentioned those who do righteous deeds, and now Allah mentioned again the opposite side, those who do evil deeds. And what are those? What are the qualities of the evil? Says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَأَمَّا مَنْ بَخِلَ. The first quality, opposite to the first good quality of generosity, is to the one who has become stingy, the one who withholds in this dunya, the one who Allah gives but he withholds. He doesn't want to, for example, pay what is due to Allah, the zakah. He doesn't spend on the needy. He doesn't see to the haqq of others. He doesn't see to his family. His only concern is to amass in this dunya and to gather wealth in this dunya. So the first quality is Allah, the one who becomes stingy in this dunya. This is the first evil quality. Allah protect us. And not only that, worse than that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَاسْتَغْنَى. He deems himself to be completely independent from Allah. It is my efforts. I done it. It is my knowledge. Allah has no part in what I have achieved. So he becomes arrogant with what Allah has given to him. He forgets that Allah is the one who has given him. Allah is the one who has made easy for him. Rather, he becomes stingy in this dunya. And not only stingy, worse than that, he becomes arrogant and he feels that he is in no need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He can achieve on his own. وَأَمَّا مَنْ بَخِلَ وَاسْتَغْنَى وَكَذَّبَ بِالْحُسْنَى. And he have no belief in the reward Allah has prepared for the righteous. For him it just is fairy tale. What do you believe in? What is the proof for this? Questioning the promises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is no conviction and yaqeen and belief in the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَى. We will make smooth for him the path to evil. We will make smooth for him the path to evil. When these qualities are found in the person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will leave the person and this person's heart will incline towards evil. Like how the righteous person, his heart will incline easy towards good deeds and righteousness. The one who has these qualities, he becomes arrogant. He becomes stingy in this dunya. There is no belief in the promise of Allah. And that person who turns his back to Allah like that, Allah will make easy for him the disobedience, meaning his heart will incline towards the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why there had so many ahadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Nabi sallallahu mentioned, when Allah created us, Allah has created each one a space or a part in Jannah and a part in Jahannam. And we in this dunya, we will find if we were to be of those who our destiny will be Jahannam, we will find our hearts inclined towards Jahannam. If we were of those whose our destiny will be Jannah, we will find our hearts inclined towards righteousness and good deeds. So this doesn't mean, in the companion says, Ya Rasulullah, so does this mean we must just leave everything in the hands of Allah and don't do any action? Should we believe that Allah has decreed who go to Jahannam and who goes to Jannah, so we must just give up everything we do? Rasul says, no, that i'malu, that strive in the obedience of Allah, strive in fulfilling and strive in righteousness, because if you find righteousness to be easy, then you know that Allah is guiding you towards Jannah. If you find evil to be easy for you, then know that the path towards Jahannam has become easy. And ultimately Allah has given us, while we are alive, if we find this in our life, we are going easily towards the disobedience, the displeasure of Allah, we can turn it around. We cannot say, no, Allah has decreed I must do evil, so I carry on with the evil. We have the choice and the will and the irada Allah has given us that we can turn around, and we have seen it proven many times how people take a U-turn in their life. From being the worst of people, Allah make it such a turn around, becoming the best of people in our communities. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then Allah ends for this with the last verse of this evening, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَمَا يُغْنِي عَنْهُ مَالُهُ إِذَا تَرَدَّى. What will be the wealth or benefit? What will be the benefit of his wealth when he's been placed in this earth, when he's been buried in this dunya? Of what avail and what benefit will it be if we have this attitude of the people Allah has mentioned, who stingy, they don't spend in the path of Allah, they become arrogant, they don't need Allah, and they completely deny the promises of Allah, the rewards of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, what will his wealth be of benefit on the day when he's been placed in the grave? That wealth cannot return his life. that wealth cannot save him from this earth and from that qabr this earth that will swallow him in, it will be covered with sand. He will become the food for the worms. So we ask Allah to grant us this realization. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who our desire and our inclination towards righteousness and piety should be easy. Our hearts should always incline towards righteousness and piety. And if we find our hearts inclined towards evil, immediately we should recognize and we make dua, Allah, redirect this heart of mine towards your pleasure, Ya Allah. We ask Allah for assistance and guidance. We ask Allah to accept. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.